Welcome to lesson 11 of Learn Biblical Hebrew. Today we take a verse from Psalm 96:11. Psalm 96:11. Yismachu hashemayim u'tagel haaretz yiram hayom u'mla'o. So we have some new words here. Hayam, Yiram, and Tarel. They're new words. And here I've written down the letter by letter. Maybe this one was a new letter too. I can't remember if we've done that or not. Anyway, it's a G. So there's the letter by letter. And now the word by word, rejoice. Rejoice the heavens, and be glad the earth. Roar the sea and its filling. So I think we met the word mala before. Where did we meet that in a previous lesson? Yes, Psalm 33 verse 5. Chesed Yahweh mala'ah haaretz, fills the earth. Here we have fullness, and the or on the end indicates its filling, we could say. And then notice how the and at the beginning takes a different form, and we just write it as oo. Here's the normal form. The w, the y, the w is used to mean and it just takes this vowel underneath it. But when it comes before an m, it changes into oo. We still write the basic letter, the w letter, the same, but it changes its vowel sound, and it's just seen as a vowel, u'mla'o, like that. So we met this one, simcha, simchu. We met that before. The u at the ending means all you. Now tagel means be glad. Now these are two forms of the same thing, the y here and the t here. This is what's called the imperfect in Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew didn't have tenses the way that English and other modern languages have. Modern Hebrew has tenses, so they've changed their grammar a little bit, and they now have a future, present and past, like English and other European languages. But ancient Hebrew didn't really have tenses. They just had two forms of the verb. One was called the perfect and one is called the imperfect. And the perfect indicated a completed action, and the imperfect indicated an uncompleted action, a not completed action. So that's the basic distinction in classical Hebrew, which is what we have here. So because it's a command, it's regarded as an uncompleted action. You're being told to do it, so it's not yet completed as we speak. And so these verbs are all in the imperfect, but and it's the third person. Here it's the third person plural, because of the oo at the end shows us it's the third person plural, but these two are both singular. They don't have the oo at the end. And now these two both have the y, which indicates that the subject is masculine. Hayom is masculine, and shemayim are masculine. But this one, instead of the y, has a t, because the subject, haaretz, is feminine. It's a feminine noun. Now the genders of these nouns are a little bit arbitrary, but that's what a lot of languages do. They assign nouns different genders. They're really just noun classes that take slightly different grammatical forms. And so that's what we have here. With the imperfect, the masculine noun is taking a Y at the beginning, and the feminine noun is taking the T at the beginning. So the basic part here is the gal, in this case gale, meaning glad. And the root here is ra'alam, which means roar or thunder. So those were our new words. This is a command, what's called a command in the third person, and so it could be translated as let them rejoice, or may they rejoice, or they should rejoice. But I've just translated it as a direct command to these things. Rejoice, heaven, be glad, earth, roar, sea, and everything in you. So there we have it, Psalm 96:11. Now I just want to show you here a very useful, I call it a cheat sheet. It's very useful. There was a para one in Greek for New Testament Greek, also brought up by Zondervan, a Zondervan study guide. And this one is called Zondervan Study Guide to Biblical Hebrew by Practico and Van Pelt. And this is very handy because it's laminated and it's all on one A4, well, double A4 joined like that, and you can put it in your ring binder, or you can just have it in a file, whatever you like. And this gives us a lot of useful information. Also there's an awful lot here that we haven't covered yet, and there's a lot that in some ways you hardly ever need to know. There's more technical detail here than you really need to know, and unfortunately a lot of technical grammatical terms. But it starts with the alphabet, most of which we've met now. So here are the 22 main letters. You notice that some of them have a different ending form. We met this one. In the middle of the word it's this form, the M, but at the end of the word the M takes this form. And these other letters here have different forms as well. What else do we have here of concern to us now? Hebrew nouns. So here's the M plural, which we've met before. So a masculine noun goes like that and takes an M plural. A feminine noun usually ends in an H and takes an orth in the plural, and the vowels change. Here's the definite article, the H, and this shows the different vowels that takes in different places. Here's the W, and it's called a conjunction grammatically, and we met in the last lesson its different forms. How normally it's just the W with the vowel, but when it's in front of an M it changes into U. What else have we met? We met the min, from, and again we see how that changes in some cases. Here's the adjectives. The adjective endings copy the noun endings, so that's quite useful. Now all this inside here is about the verbs, and in the last lesson we talked about the hefil, and that's characterized by putting an H there and an E there, so we see that. Oh, and we talked about the perfect and the imperfect. So the perfect, remember I said that Biblical Hebrew, and this is the grammar of Biblical Hebrew, ancient Biblical Hebrew, doesn't have tenses, but instead it has the basic two-way distinction, the perfect and the imperfect. And perfect is used to express completed action, whether in the past, present or future, and imperfect is used to express incomplete action, whether in the past, present or future. So that's that basic information, and I think we saw this here. So the imperfect in the third person begins with this Y. So the third person is he, she or it, but the Hebrew makes a distinction. If it's masculine, it takes the Y. If it's feminine, it takes the T. And what else have we met here? Maybe that's all that we've seen there, but we turn over to the back here, and we've met this suffix nu, meaning our. That's one CP, means first person common plural. So common means masculine and feminine. First person means I or we. So in this case it means our or us, the nu ending. I don't think we met any of the others yet, but we will soon. This is the construct chain which we have met when two nouns are joined together, corresponding to the English of. The first noun gets some changes, usually changes in the vowel, and so that indicates Reved, servant, and Hamelech is the king. So the construct chain, meaning they're linked together, and we would translate it as servant of the king. And it says down here the masculine plural endings are replaced by just a Y in the construct, and we saw that in the example that we had. So I recommend getting hold of this. I bought it from my local Christian bookshop, but I'm sure you could order it direct from Zondervan, a Zondervan study guide on Biblical Hebrew by Practico and Van Pelt. So just in conclusion, we'll go back to our verse for this lesson, Psalm 96:11. Yismachu hashemayim wa tagel haaretz yiram hayom u'melao. Just one point about this vowel. It's the R vowel, hayam, but in some dialects of Hebrew it shortens. This vowel sound is made shorter when it's between two consonants, and that's the way I was taught. So I will sometimes say hayom, hayom, but in other dialects of Hebrew they give it the full value, hayam. So this is a very poetic expression of the joy that there is in being a person, a servant of the Lord, and it's expressed by this personifying the heavens and the earth and the sea and everything in it. They can all rejoice and be glad in God, their Maker.